The silent devastation of Sunsetton turns into frantic aftermath, with Cyrus caught in the middle, in this week's reimagining of Season 0, Chapter 9. I also give a brief insight into the 7th V sound engineering production process. I have a little bit of a plot twist, and all time and space has been lost to me in the insanity of the past 2 weeks. All that and more in this week's episode of TABTA, but first, a message to our heroes of Edara.
Hey there, this is Colin, creator of the 7th Valkyrie. If you're hearing this, it means you're listening to the public version of TABTA. And I really appreciate that. It keeps the algorithm happy, it keeps us growing. But if you want to get a little fun personal message every week with behind-the-scenes stories, funny little bits, other insight into the creative process, you can hop over to our Patreon and become a hero of Edara. You'll support the series, you can shape the future of the 7th Valkyrie, and find a whole lot of fun bonus content along the way. You can get started completely for free, and then if you decide you want to chip in and get bonus content, early access, and a whole lot more and help us along the path of heroes towards a whole lot of cool checkpoints, then you can do that. It's patreon.com/7th Valkyrie, that's 7THVALKYRIE, and give it a look. With that, on into the show.
And hello, everybody, and welcome to TABTA, the adventure behind the adventure of the 7th Valkyrie, where we watch one series go from total obscurity to maybe 7 seasons in a movie, or maybe we just find the power of friendship along the way. I'm your host, Colin Sharp, creator and current voice of the 7th Valkyrie, and it's great to have you listening. Let's get into it. First, with the episodes coming up. On Wednesday, we have the reimaginings of Season 0, Chapter 9, called A Ghost in the Flames. This is Part 1. And the effect that ends Chapter 7, Part 2, and starts this chapter is maybe my favorite one in the series so far. And then the way that the reimagining sort of builds the tension and the moments in this chapter makes what could have been sort of dull connective tissue before into a really awesome sense of sort of creeping, rising tension. So give it a listen. Then Friday, we'll have the accompanying episode of the 7th V Listen Along, where I'll break that down in further depth. And then a week from today, we're back again, as always, with TABTA. So that's what you got coming up this week if you're a public listener. And again, heroes, you guys have got that ahead of schedule. Into what's going on behind the scenes, the 7th V production and business. I've been working back and forth with... So I wrote some of these notes yesterday, and then I had a total twist. Yesterday I've been working back and forth with Zoran, getting some things organized, getting the first chapters of Season 1 onto my machine, the reimaginings, starting to chew on them. And one thing that I haven't ever talked about, but was a big part of the work I was doing yesterday, is licensing. So my sound designer, Big Z, subscribes to a massive content library of open source sounds and music, but in order to use them legally and fairly in the episode, we have to carefully track where all the little sound effects and tracks came from, where they were used, in case, we need to show any other creators or the originals that were legit and we actually paid to use the material that we're using. This has been a sort of a massive issue in the era of AI, where these things are trained on copyrighted material and they're just remixing it or straight up stealing. So for me, at least, knowing that we've got a big list of content that we used and proof that we used it legitimately feels nice, and is also a way to protect ourselves from getting sued. It's been really interesting being a human creative in this era of rampant AI, especially in the US, where regulation has been kind of thrown off in favor of kind of a Wild West approach. We'll see if that changes in the future. Hopefully it does. And it's weird because we can accomplish more than ever before as a small shop with no big funding, and it gives me, which gives me a huge amount of freedom, but at the same time, on an industry level, those tools are being used to take food off the plate of other creatives. So it's weird and it's complicated. Like whenever I'm using image generators, I try to make sure that the algorithms I'm sourcing are actually sourced ethically, and even then it's a bit of a crapshoot, and I'll see like little fragments of text in the bottom of an image and be like, oh, I'm pretty sure that this particular interpretation of an image was taken straight from the cover of somebody else's work. And so I try not to use that. And it's kind of hard and weird. And what I try to do with this podcast partially is saying, hey, like I open it up. I say, hey, I might be doing this wrong. And I'm always down to hear feedback and comments on how I could be doing that better. But you have to try something, and people say I'm doing it correctly, then I'd love to hear how I can improve it. And also, okay, so this gets back to the twist. All that I just read was based off of my notes that I wrote on Sunday. And then after I wrote the notes for TABTA, I was kicking back on Sunday evening, and I just started writing. It was flowing, and before I knew it, I'd pretty much banged out the first draft of season 3, chapter 1. So that's kind of big and wild and unexpected, and I was expecting to write a lot more detail about the end of the story before I started writing the beginning, but I kind of realized that it happens in bits and spurts for me. So, anyway, and getting away from existential creativity questions and into what's going on with me, and I come into you guys. It feels like every day of the week at once, and removed from time. Ugh. I'm in the dot on the I for Jeremy Bearimy. If you've seen The Good Place, great show. Please watch it. Oh man, but like having that awesome burst of creativity is great, and I've got lots of these that have been happening, but it's like I just feel removed from like the rhythm of day and night and what day of the week it is. Like starting the day before Thanksgiving, I've been zooming around. I cut off part of my finger. I traveled between countries. I hit up a wedding. I haven't got more than 36 hours without a social event or a flight since late November. And I've been working the whole way on days that I don't usually work, and then also not on days that I do usually work. It's all just a bit cattywampus right now, so not complaining. Just wanted to share that I'm sort of in a liminal space, and yeah, expecting to transition into the week and get moving, and it's slowly picking up steam. But oh man, I am just adrift right now. So, but that won't stop me from this week's Q&A, which comes from our hero, How Could You Do This to Blank, which is my name for my mother, who feels personally offended anytime something bad happens to her favorite characters. And she asks, well, what's been the highlight of the year for you in 7th Valkyrie? And I could point to a lot of stuff, but I would say absolutely finishing season 2. Working through that 1.5 year long season and finally getting to see 7th Valkyrie become what I've always dreamed it could be is just an incredible gift. And it has led me to this point of dreaming even bigger about the original seasons and the seasons to come. And it's got me super excited and, writing good, fresh, new stuff in my new season. So thanks for asking, how could you do this to blank, aka mom? And for you guys, if you have any questions that you'd like to hear answered, leave a comment, send a message. I'll check before next week if I can. If I ever get any comments, I try to respond to them in wherever they come from. And in the meantime, stay tuned for upcoming releases, Wednesday and Friday for the public, with the hero versions already available. And I'll be sending y'all lots of love. Ciao.